This is the first in a series of videos on exponential functions. And first let's look at the definition of an exponential function. So for a definition, let's say that an exponential function has the form y is equal to a times b raised to the x, where in this case the a and the b are both just real numbers with given values, and b is going to be greater than 0. A is not 0. And the x and y are simply variables. And let's look at an example of an exponential function. Let's look at y is equal to 5 to the x. What y equal 5 to the x means is that the value of y is equal to 5 times the number of times 5 is multiplied by itself is what varies, and that's x. So y equal 5 to the x means y is equal to 5 times 5 times 5, a total of x times. Let's look at an example. If x is equal to 4, then y is equal to 5 to the 4th, or 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. If we plug that in a calculator real quick, we get 625. Y is equal to 5 to the 3rd is simply 5 times 5. 5 times 5 times 5, 3 times. The 3 here tells us that we multiply 5 times 5 times 5. That's what varies. And y is equal to 5 to the 7th would be 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can't do that one in my head. So the first thing you might be asked to do is to evaluate an exponential function. Let's look at that. Let's do y is equal to 2 times 3 to the x, or sometimes it's written f of x is equal to 2 times 3 to the x. And let's say we want to find f to the 4. Well, x is what varies, and what we're saying here, f of 4 means let's figure out what y is when x is equal to 4. Right? So that's 2 times 3 raised to the power 4. Now at this point, when you're evaluating, what you have to be careful of is the rules of operations, the order of operations. And most people learn it under some kind of acronym, PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. We have multiply here, and we have exponents. Exponents in order of operations come first, so we do 3 to the 4th first. 3 to the 4th is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. That's 81. So you have 2 times 81. And then you have 162. That's how you evaluate an exponential function. Let's look at another way to look at exponential functions. Let's look at a very common one, y is equal to 2 to the x. And let's make a little table, x and y. And what we're going to look at is how the y equals 2 to the x varies as x varies. So let's just go x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's 2 to the 1, right? Y is equal to 2 to the 1, which is just 2. This is y is equal to 2 squared, which is 4. This is 2 to the 3rd, which is 8. 2 to the 4th, which is 16. This is 2 to the 5th. Now that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32. And if we do 2 to the 6, I'm going to use a calculator for that. You get 64. And if you notice, what happens is x increases, y increases, but at a much faster rates, and we say that it grows exponentially. So when we have y is equal to a times b to the x, whenever b is a number that's greater than 1, we call that an exponential growth function. And the last thing to be careful of is make sure we pay attention to the difference between two fairly common functions. One is y is equal to x squared, where the other one is y is equal to 2 to the x. Now this is not an exponential function, this is the squaring function. What y equals x squared means is y is equal to x times x. And it's the x that changes. If it's y is equal to 2 raised to the x, that's y is equal to 2 times 2, a total of x times. So let's think about that for a second. If we had y is equal to x squared, or sometimes you can say f of x is equal to x squared. Let's see what x squared. Let's see what f of 7 would be. That would be 7 squared, or 49. If you had y is equal to 2 to the x, then so let's rewrite that in function notation. That's y, f of x is 2 raised to the x. In this case, f of 7 would be 2 to the 7th, which would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. 128. So f of 2 to the 7th would be 128, whereas 7 squared is 49. So they're clearly different. So that's part 1 of Intro to Exponential Functions. So now watch the part 2. We're done.